Hey, hello! Welcome and greetings, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Maxon Color. And thank you very much for joining us today. Let me know where are you guys joining us from today. Hey, Eddie. Nice to meet you. Thank you very much for joining us today. And Diego, how about you, man? How are you doing?
Hey
Where
Max,
are you
how
at the
are
moment?
you?
Diego is a traveling colorist, by the way. he he always travel from one place to the other. Where are you today, Diego?
So I'm actually in Mexico right now. I'm in a town called San Miguel de Allende. I
Oh
was teaching
wow,
a lesson last week, but I say, hey, I'm in Mexico. It's the Dia de los Muertos celebration, so I decided to
wow,
stay one
yeah,
more week, and it was really, really, really nice. A colorful party, really, really colorful, really colorful. It's
amazing,
beautiful. All kind of colors,
amazing.
all kind of costumes. Amazing, amazing.
Yeah,
If you want to come,
like
definitely
Disney
recommend it.
Coco, no, the movie
Yeah,
Coco. That
yeah.
was amazing. And Greg is
Yes.
joining from California. Hey, Greg, thank you very much for joining. Nice to see you
Hey,
again.
Greg.
And Whitney from Philadelphia. This is really nice. And Emilio
That's
from
awesome.
Spain. Wow, thank you so much for joining, guys.
Hey, Emilio.
Diego, by the
Yeah.
way, you know what? Every time I watch a nice movie and it's like a very well prepared movie, I always wonder, it's like how do they prepare, like how do they use colors, as a tool? And this is always like intrigues me a lot as a colorist. I mean, reading books and so on, yeah, it's great. You can get a lot of informations about that, but you know what? In our guest list today, somebody is actually going to talk just about that. And are you excited? I
Yeah,
am
for
really
sure.
excited.
And our guest is one of my best friends. That's the thing that I'm more excited about it. That's
Yeah.
perfect. Yeah.
And without further ado, let's just welcome Javier. Hey, hello,
Hey,
Javier.
Javi, how are
Hey
you?
guys, how are you?
Thank you so much for joining us today, Javier. And
Uh,
we are both of us, and I think our audience is also like really looking forward for this. We really want to learn more, how to use color as a language, as you told us.
yeah. I'm also so excited. Thank you for having me, and thank you for opening the space to talk about color, but in a different way. Maybe the way I'm gonna to talk about color is gonna be a bit different, and it's gonna push some people out. But I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you can keep your mind open so you can receive all the information today.
It is. It is always nice to learn more and to see from somebody else's perspective about color. Don't you agree, Diego?
Yes, absolutely. And you know what's the beautiful thing about it is that all of the colorists have different opinions, like ways to see color and ways
Yeah.
to create color. That's the most beautiful thing.
I know, right? And like the saying, beauty is in the eye of beholder. Well, before I go on and on and on, why don't you introduce yourself, Javi?
Okay, my name is Javier Guevara. I'm architect from profession. I become cinematographer, and after that, I studied color grading. So now I share my time between these three passions.
Sorry, I think I cut your audio out in the last 3 seconds because I'm switching.
Okay, don't worry. I kind of champur, I kind of mix.
By the way, where
I'm
are you
architect.
based, Javi?
I'm based in Bali, Indonesia.
Wow, look
So
at you, man.
it's quite late today for me, but
Yeah,
I'm
and thank you
happy
so
to
much
be
for
here.
joining us
Yeah.
in this exactly in this time at your time there in Bali, because I think there it's a past midnight at the moment.
Yeah. 5 minutes
Yeah.
past midnight.
Javi's in the
Awesome.
future. Javi's in the future. That's
Yeah.
it.
Javi is in the future. Yes, exactly. It's time traveling.
Friday will be all awesome.
So how's the future, Javi? It's good?
It's dark right now, but yeah, I think it's gonna be good
I
tomorrow.
think
It's raining a lot because we are in rainy season right now, and with El Nino, things are getting really wet here. But yeah, I know we are used to.
yeah. Go on, Javi. I think the floor is yours.
Okay. I don't know. Do you want to jump into topics? Do you want to chat more?
Yeah, we can jump into your presentations because Javi today already prepare a very nice presentations to explore the language of color, especially in cinema. So if you really want to follow along, I mean, you don't need to take notes or something like that because Javi is so kind and he's preparing the presentations and made it available. So if you go to the YouTube page of this sessions, under the descriptions, you will find the link to the Dropbox. And I can also paste it in the chat for you later on, right? So
Right.
Javi, if you want to, you can start your presentations, man. Thank you very much.
Okay, it's moving. Good. Okay, guys, first of all, thank you for being here. Thank you, Max and Diego, for share the space with me. I'm really proud to be here tonight. I have a presentation that is like 115 slides, some videos and some things that I want to share. So let's see if we can go really fast. As Max said, the presentation is going to be available, and I don't know if the video is going to stay online for a while. But yeah, try to be focused. We're going to talk about the language of color in cinema. Something really important for me. But before we jump into topic, it's important to know who I am. And when I mean who I am, it's not just my name, it's what I do for a living and what I do to stay alive. I live in Bali, Indonesia.
You're a professional server.
I just amateur surfer, but it's something that I really like, and it's something that helped me to release tension and also to experience new things, the same way that cinema and filmmaking helped me to move myself into situation, countries, relationships that are not common for people that go to a 9-to-5 office everyday job. So many of the things that I'm going to talk about myself and I'm going to talk about my experience. So it's not what I do, it's how I live. If you're not going to stay here until the end, this is my Instagram, so we can keep contact through Instagram because it's going to be a long presentation. Many of you maybe have another appointment, so things to do. So let's just be in contact.
Yeah, and don't worry about that because this session is also recorded and it will be available in Maxon Training Team YouTube channel. But we'll talk about that right at the end. Go on, Javi. Sorry, man.
Yeah,
Go on, buddy.
What I do, let's go fast around this. I'm an architect. This was my first career. This is how I built my mindset, my framework. I think everything I do is based on that. With the time I discovered that I am a builder, I'm a designer rather than an architect or a cinematographer or a colorist. So you will see during the presentation that the kind of framework that I have came from this kind of like a profession. After that, I became a cinematographer. I part of the Argentina Cinematographer Society. With the digital revolution, I become also a colorist. Before we didn't have the opportunity to grade our own short films, our own movies. So the first time, Apple Color just appeared and was available to be used in a computer, I just jump on it and get super excited. And I have like my last 10 years were just running around and try to get any kind of like a color corrector that I can have, but always with the idea to improve my cinematography, with the idea to get my narrative in a better shape.
That's quite a jump, right, Javi, from architecture to cinematography. What makes you, what inspires you?
Yeah, basically because during this time, I was not really sure that I want to become an architect. I wasn't sure about many things in life, So I spent a lot of time in Andorra, in Europe, just doing snowboarding. And I discovered that during my day off, the only thing I normally do is I went to the to Blockbuster or places like that, and I start to watch movies and I start to copy movies like crazy. So my friends start to come home and say, okay, do you have this movie, or can you recommend me this, or can you recommend me that? I fall completely in love with all the Spanish cinema, you know, Almodovar,
awesome.
you know,
Awesome.
Julio Medem. It was incredible at that time. And after that, I decided, okay, I'm gonna come back home and I'm gonna study filmmaking. Obviously, my father said, okay, but this is a hobby, so you have to keep both. So I finished both. I graduate as an architect, and also I become a filmmaker, a director. And with the time, I discovered that I don't really enjoy working with actors, so I moved more to a technical side.
I see. Thank you so much for sharing, man. That's really interesting.
That's nice. And you said something nice that is in some ways a hobby. I mean, and all of us are here because it's our hobby. We just talk about this when we go like to a technology store, it's like a toys store.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, it was something like was the beginning. Was the beginning. And now, because basically, you know, I really want to work in projects that I like, and it's really difficult to just, I don't know, to be in the industry and stay there for a long time and really have the option to choose what you want to do. Life pushed me to become a producer. I have a company here in Indonesia, and we have our company in Australia, another company in New Zealand. Yeah, basically the company in New Zealand is an IP holder. So all the stories that we write here and we develop here, the company in New Zealand hold the IP and try to sell it. And we have two production companies, one in Australia, one in Indonesia. So Southeast Asia is the region where we work. So yeah, so I learned a lot. I started to read contracts and Google a lot of things. So people don't really realize that I don't know too much about these kind of things, but I learned a lot, and I'm happy because I think become a producer is also a really creative part of our job. When we are technician, we don't get it, but you know, like it's just be able to build a movie and have this like the big picture of what we are doing is so important also.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it's just a quick idea of what I did. I like to work more in narrative, serious feature films. I did some short film also. I did some commercials. It's not my strength, but I was lucky enough to be in some of the like really important festivals and learn a bit about how the business works. So yeah, I was traveling a lot. You know, now I live in Indonesia. I live in Barcelona. I live in France, obviously in Argentina. So, yeah, it was a long journey. I have the opportunity to work with different streamers. The last movie I worked with was Ticket to Paradise. It's an Universal production. They helped me a lot. I had many questions when they sent me the workflow from Universal. So they will help me finding some answer, like finding some information, giving me some answers, and also even links to amazing tutorials. But yeah, I work with some projects were streamed on Netflix. One of them just premiere in Amazon Prime or HBO.
That's nice. So cool. And by the way, you are going to break down one of your projects today as well, right? You're going to share with us today later on.
Yeah, we're going to use the Netflix project that I'm showing here. The name is Combatientes. Combatientes in Spanish.
Yeah.
Combatientes. Yeah, we're going to work on this specific project.
Awesome. By the way, Javi, sorry to cut you. There's a questions in the audience. John is asking if you're working remotely. I assume for all of this project.
No, not all. Obviously, Ticket to Paradise they shoot in Bali, so yeah, I was on set. For Combatientes, I was living in Argentina when we created this project, so I was in the room. The project that is in Amazon Prime, it was completely online because it's an Australian movie. So I graded here in Indonesia, and we just work online. I have a workflow to work online. The HBO one was in Batam, it was a small island close to Singapore. I just flew there and I work on set with the DOP.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Depends. I love to work online, but sometimes you have to be there. And just two quick notes. It's going to be a long presentation, so just try to be present, try to be focused. We're going to spend our time. Our time is the most valuable asset that we have. So try to use it properly. And if you need to go, just go and come back later and watch the replay. And the other thing is try to keep your mind open, because many of the things that I'm gonna try to explain you doesn't make sense until they sink. So let's see what happens. We are excited.
And let's enjoy. Yeah.
Yeah, let's enjoy the idea. So just you have a quick. You have the big picture of what we are going to talk. We're going to talk about language and color. We're going to try to define these two things so we can use it later in a creative way. We're going to talk about color and emotion and the relationship between them. We're going to talk about the narrative that is around color, how we can use color in a narrative way. We're going to talk about Combatientes. That is in a specific project that we're going to try to apply all these concepts in a project that was a real project, because sometimes happened to me also, people explain things just in theory, and after that they say, but I have my documentary and I have my feature film or I have my short film. So I want to really see what you really do on the room, on the tools. So I don't know if you want to add something.
Yeah, we're really looking forward to pick your mind about using color as a language.
Okay, let's jump
Let's jump into the topic.
No, the first part is going to be really, really theoretical. So try to keep tuned, and after that, we're gonna get more fun.
Awesome.
The most important part, I'm gonna use Roger Deakins during the presentation, so he can explain the things that I want to explain in a better way. Something that for me is so important, and I have a really special connection with him is the way he sees cinematography. And one of the phrases that hit me the first time I read it was people confuse pretty with good cinematography. When the first time I read that was, I don't get it, but I think there is something really important here, So we're gonna try to dive a bit around this concept. And the first thing we need to understand, I think cinema is a philosophy, and it's not just cinema, cooking or music or, poetry, whatever, it's a philosophy, and a philosophy has three things that are so important. Philosophy have ethics, aesthetic, and logic. And each part of these things is focusing in one specific topic. Basically, the ethics is try to define what is good and what is bad, religion, for example. You have the logic. The logic try to define what is true and what is false. And aesthetic try to define what is pretty and what is ugly. This changed all the time, during our history, these ideas were changing a lot, and each time in our story has a different concept around this. But the important part is that we think cinema, and we create this like a link between cinema and make things pretty, we are just using like a 70% of what cinema can offer. You know, cinema doesn't have to be pretty. Our job is not make images prettier or make people look prettier on camera. You know, so some people just confuse this concept, and many of us, I know, have been working in this industry, just making like the sky bluer and the green and the grass greener, and you know, the skins, you know, just make it soft and trying to you know, to pristine everything that is on the screen. So for me, cinema is 100%, and make things prettier is just 70%. So it's important that the next time you are on the tools, you really need to understand that your job is not make things prettier. So basically, cinema is much more than pretty images. So if we're going to talk about a language and we're going to talk about color, we need to define what the language really is, you know? And basically, we use languages to define or try to group concepts that we cannot express in any other way, you know? The concept try to go, this idea that we have, that this imagination that we have, this dream that we have, try to go through a language, and the limitation of the language is going to be our tools. It's going to be our field where we are going to work. These languages split in like two main categories, the symbols and the grammar. We're going to focus a bit around the symbol. Basically, this is the definition of the symbol, but I don't want to read too much. So a symbol is an idea to go beyond, you know? This is what we're going to use. You know, we use basically colors. We're going to use shapes. We're going to use symbols in a way that we can create ideas that go beyond what people is watching. You know, if we're going to just enhance what is there, you know, we are not doing our job in the full capacity. So really basically, basically we have these symbols, and these symbols have a significance and a meaning, and the grammar is the rule that structures these symbols over the time. So sometimes it's difficult to understand, but if we think in a tree, you have the word tree, you have the sound tree, and you have an image that we have in our mind. So I wanted to do an example, and I want to ask you, Diego and Max, that you imagine a table.
Yeah.
So take your time, imagine a table in your mind, and try to describe the table that you imagine. How is this table?
I think table is a flat, it has a flat surface and four legs to support the flat surface.
Which material is your table?
It's a wooden material. I think it's a teak wood material.
Oh, okay. And you, Diego?
So in my case, it's something similar, like a wood. But you know, I imagine the table with something on. In this case, with breakfast.
Somebody's hungry.
Because you're hungry. Yeah. Well, let's see. This is the table I imagine. But it's crazy because even all the things that we describe are tables, you know, and we have plenty of tables that we can recognize as a table. You know, there is something that is a table that we share, and we can recognize a table, even this like it's a folding table, or it's a desk, or it's a round table, it's a glass table, it's a wooden table, it's a football table, it's a pool table, you know, it's just a picnic table. There is something, there is a concept behind that, you know, and this is what I want to express, and I want to work during this presentation. You know, there is something there. You know, we are used to just use the surface of the knowledge that we have, but we can go deeper. We can really go deeper, and we can try to use the tools that we have in a way that we can create meaning that was not there before. So basically, I like this definition of like symbols are there to transmit ideas or belief to others. This is what we have to do. as a colorist, as a filmmaker, as an architect, as an artist. We need to transmit ideas, you know. So yeah, we have an idea about language. Let's talk about color, you know. We already know, and I'm gonna go really fast around this, but okay, color and the definition of color, like the most common one is we have a hue, we have a saturation, and we have a luminance. We have different color models that group these three concepts in different ways. We know that we have RGB, lab, and another type of science around color. And we know that we have color spaces. Yeah. It's not really important right now, but all this knowledge have to be used. This is the most important, you know. It's not just, okay, I need to know all these things to buy a monitor. Yeah, obviously it's important, but it have to be used to create narrative around this. Hey, we're gonna stop here just for a bit.
Yeah, I think that's a really nice way to put it. You know, you're comparing color as a language, that it is, you know, it has like a language has its vocabulary and then has its grammar, and then, you know, then you can use it like in to convey emotions, to convey meaning. It seems like the color, and it's really nice way to put it, man.
And you know, it's like, so you put like in a slide when there was a brain there, so all of us see the color different. That's the most beautiful thing, and that's the hardest thing. So what language are you using to understand the color in your brain of the color of the brain of your client? So yes. It's the same at the table. The same at the table. When you are saying, okay, what do you think of a table? We can say, what do you think of this image? Do you like this image? So it's the same. Like we need some common language to understand something that is in our brain, and that's the most beautiful thing.
Sure. So let's try to find a way to do it. I really like the exercise about the table, because basically it's give us a clue about, you know, there is something else, you know, and the same that I said before with like a Roger Deakins, you know, I didn't get the phrase at the beginning, but I can feel that was really important, you know, and still working on that, and I'm still trying to understand this phrase, which looks simple, but it's not easy. So that we have the theory, let's talk about emotion, because at the end of the day, cinema or art is related with emotions, you know. So now these symbols are not just symbols, you know, are are colors, and for us our main tool to convey emotions are the colors. So we need to understand the color, but not just in a technical way. We need to understand how we can manipulate this color, or how we can transmit emotion through these colors. For example, I don't know, we know that red can be associated with anger or passion or death or blood, you know? So we have the color, we have the motion, This is what we have to do, you know, before even we start to work on the project. We have to read the script. We need to talk with the director. We need to understand how we're going to translate this idea, this emotion. Each scene on a movie have to have a narrative purpose, but also have to have an emotion, have to hold an emotion, so we can find these colors on the script also. So the way to link these two things is related with the color psychology, you know, how colors affect our psychology, and also how this relationship change depending on the country that you live. You know, I'm living in Asia, and many of the colors that we use in the Western world are used in a different way here. You know,
I have something to say about that, man. I attended one webinar with Walter Volpato. He's a colorist from based in LA for Company 3, and he is saying it's like, you know, there's like a culture aspect that like how do you call it, that affect the use of color. Like for example, he noticed that skin tone in America, for example, it is always like tend to be like golden and yellowy, and but then if it's in Asia, it's more like reddish than the golden yellow California skin tone, because I think like if you like grade some movie and then it was supposed to be for Asian market, I don't think like the golden skin tone will play well for the people in that area. Don't you agree? I found that's just like really interesting, the fact that it's different based on the culture.
Yeah, and also the relationship, is, for example, I live in Indonesia, you are from Indonesia, and the first time that people invite me to a cremation because someone died, was crazy for me. It's like, it's not a birthday, it's not a party. Why you are inviting me to a cremation? And the way they behave, anyone cried there, all the people is happy, all the people is celebrating life, even that the person passed away. And they are like just wearing like a white.
Yeah.
It's completely different,
It's not black. Yeah.
It's not black. People is not sad. People is just celebrating. We have food. It's a celebration, really. It's a celebration. Yeah. And the use of the colors is linked in a really deep way with the culture that you are.
Yeah, that's really amazing. That's really amazing. Yeah. For example, right now I'm in Mexico, and they have a orange flower. So that orange flower is kind of unique from Mexico, and they put it like in all of the parts, and it's a really strong color. It almost looks artificial. So I was asking about what is the reason of the flower and so on. So they told me that the name is Sempapuchil, and the flowers also like. It's really with a strong smell. So the flower is for the souls to go in the world and don't get lost because of the smell.
So it's guiding the soul of the how do you call it, the ancestor.
Yes, it's guiding the souls in the world, and then they go back. It's crazy. It's crazy. And
so it's like exactly like what Disney Coco mentioned in the movie, right?
You're a fan. Next time you have to put Coco's picture here.
I know, right?
So Max, do you like animation?
Oh, I love animations, man.
I love animation.
I really love it.
Yes, and they have, as you say, they have a lot of colors in animation.
And as you're putting this image, this is like a really nice how do you call it, way to use color as a tool, as you already label it here.
Yeah. So I love this movie, and I think it's amazing. It's just anything that Pixar made is just beautiful. But I think it's so important for us as an artist and as a colorist, cinematographers, directors, production designers, etc., to understand this. And I think this movie really hit the point in a perfect way. Is this relationship between colors and feelings and emotions. Basically, the relationship between colors and emotion is really clear here. So each of the character has a color, and each of the character represents an emotion, and we can place this emotion in a chromatic wheel, and we can see how all the emotions that they use to move the story forward, to move the narrative forward, are related with this chromatic wheel. It's just they try to cover all the possible simple emotion or single emotion that you can have. Anger, fear, sadness, disgust, and joy. Sometimes people say, okay, yeah, this is easy, because it's just animation, you don't need to do it in real life. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe there is a way to do it when you are making a movie, and you should. You should, it's just the same concept that we can see in animation. We can translate this concept into like a narrative film, in this case, like a Moonlight, Matrix, Little Miss Sunshine, Blade Runner. Each of these movies has a tone, have a dominant color and a dominant hue that move the story forward. Obviously, they are not 100% red or 100% blue. But yeah, there is a color that hold the tension and move the narrative forward.
And here, for example, you show something about beautiful. If you see the red image, you will see that's not beautiful. I mean, that's not beautiful in the natural way.
Yeah.
No.
Definitely. Even the moonlight, that's not beautiful in the natural. But it's beautiful in that world. That's the great thing.
Exactly. Creating world. Big thing, man, in cinema.
Yeah. And basically, when we understand this and when we understand that we can place emotions in a chromatic wheel, we start to work in the different way we can do it. We have the basic structure that we have, the basic place that we can start to work with the colorists on one shot. And we can start to apply the chromatic contrast and work with the luminance and chroma and hue and have this beautiful palette that we really like. And I think these shots are linked with emotions. It's the way we link what is happening to this character in this specific moment. And for me, it's so important. We can use color in just one specific moment. This shot, what is happening right now? It's just can take like a snapshot of an emotion. You say, okay, what is happening here in the Reverend? What is happening to the Joker? What is happening in Blade Runner? And after that, we can move into a different part of the movie. We can start to work in the whole scene. And in the whole scene, we can start to translate this emotion to different shots. We are not copy and paste the grade. We are translating an emotion, and we need to understand this. Why? Because this whole scene has a meaning in the movie as a whole, has a purpose. And when we have this concept in the scene, we're going to start to move into the sequences. And we can start to alternate these scenes in a way that is meaningful for us. It's just, okay, how are we going to work the movie? How are we going to split this movie? How are we going to use the palette that I choose in different ways using time? It's not just the shot. It's not just now, okay, Blade Runner. The soil is orange and the sky is blue. No. How are we going to do it during the time that the movie is going to progress? How are we going to create narrative? I think for me, it's important also to understand where and when we can add color to our stories. It's just, there are many stages that we can work with color. It's not something that I'm gonna shoot my movie and after that the colorist is gonna save it. Sometimes happen to us these kind of things. People just arrive with the movie and say, "Oh, this scene really doesn't work. Can you do something?" It's just, I don't know. It's just the emotion is not there. So we have to build this emotion through different stages. There is a phrase from Kahn. He's an architect from the 60s that's amazing. And I really like this concept. The phrase is a bit complicated, but what I like is the idea of anything that you create as an artist, how to start unmensurable, have to be an idea, have to be a feeling, have to be something that you cannot express. And after that, have to go through the mensurable, because you have to create a script, you have to create a lookbook, you have to talk with the DOP, and you have to do an equipment list, you have to choose the dolly that you want to use, you have to cast the talent, but after that, when you put the movie on a cinema and people watch it, what they have to perceive is the first emotion you have. The feeling that moved you to make this movie, the feeling that moved you to make this book, not the basically the budget that the producer used to make the movie. You know, when you read a book, when you watch a movie, when you listen to a song that change your life, I know that the value of these things are much bigger than the price. And I think this is our job as an artist, you know, just try to translate this first feeling until the last until the screen, in our case, if we are filmmakers, or the experience of that people can have when they visit your building, you know. Louis Kahn said, like, every building must have its own soul, and every movie has its own soul, and each piece of art had to have a soul, you know. And this is what we have to do, and this is what is our work, you know. It's just I identify this soul and take care of this soul through the process to be able that we can convey this emotion at the end, you know. And if you do your job properly and you go to the cinema and you instead to watch the screen, watch the public, and they feel what you felt, you did a really good job.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Javier. Just imagine if you're going to cinema and watch a very pretty movie, but the story is, you know, the movie cannot transform you, cannot, you know, transcend you. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's a really nice experience as well, right?
No. And also, I think that's, I mean, as a colorist, we have to say that, okay, if the story is not a good story, we cannot make something like wonderful. I mean, it's like we live next to a story. The story is the one that gives us the colors. Yeah. If the story is not good, we can have the most beautiful color in the movie, but at the end, the story matters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or just the slave to the story.
Yes.
Like it. I love it.
So, just a quick recap. So, people that is new here start to understand how we work. You know, we start to think about color in pre-production.
Yeah.
Even when we are writing the script, you know, we need to start to think about colors, you know, how we're going to use color through the whole process, you know. DIT and colorists doing camera tests, script breakdown, props, light, wardrobe, location, you know, everything that we put on the screen is important, or must to be important, must to be relevant for the story.
Yeah.
You know, we have script, text, Bibles, and a storyboard. This is basically what we do with this company that I talked before. You know, we do script, decks, Bibles, and storyboard. So, for example, these are like some of the mood boards that we create for other movies. We grab pictures and images from different movies, and we try to create a mood, you know. And with this mood, what we try to do is hold and protect this emotion, hold and protect this soul, hold and protect the thing that we think that has a value, you know. For example, my partner is a director, and he just send me like, I don't know, hundreds of links per week. And sometimes I just grab one. I feel like, oh, this is unique. This is important, and we develop this idea, you know.
Yeah.
So it's important, you know, just to find something that for you is meaningful, because you're going to spend a long time working on it, you know, 5 years of your life, maybe, if you're going to produce it. So cannot be something that is nice or pretty, you know. 70% of cinema is not going to make, it's not going to be worth it.
Yeah.
So in production, we have light, we have makeup, scenography, props, again, wardrobe, you know, all the things we need to talk. I know if many of you are colorists, you say, oh yeah, but you know, I don't have relationship with the cinematographer, so I never talk with like art director or production design. But when you go into big pictures and big movies, or when you have your own company and you can really move forward this, because for you it's important, you know, it's the way to do it. If you think like any Hollywood production, you know, The Reverend, you know, the camera test and the grading test was done with the production designer and with the makeup artist. You know, it's a way that we can really ensure that we can hold the soul of the movie and the motion through the whole pipeline. And obviously post-production, you know, this is like a Max room. It's a beautiful room.
That's a nice grading suite you have there, Javier.
Yeah. The bottom one is my grading suite.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm really proud of it. I have to buy the other one. But yeah, we can do it in color grading, we can do it in VFX, or obviously we can do it during the editing.
Yeah.
Yeah, people is gonna say, I know, what is the relationship between editing and color? You know, is when you receive the footage, the movie is already shot. How the editor can modify the emotion through colors. Time. I mean, cinema is time. You know, editing is the most important thing that we have in cinema, more than color, more than acting, more than anything else. We are talking about time. And when we understand that, okay, we have this emotion, but this emotion is something that, you know, it's just, that's happened to me. You know, I'm happy right now. After that, I'm sad. And after that, I have a different emotion. I have joy or anger, you know, but these are emotions. This is like a shot of sugar, you know, dopamine. But time is what makes things different. Time makes things, we go from emotions, that is something like it's like a snapshot, to a feeling, to something that you can sustain. You can sustain through the whole movie, you can sustain through the whole pipeline, and you can achieve the goal that you want to achieve, that this is basically take care of this emotion. So the point here, and the really important thing that I want to highlight, is emotions are different to feelings, you know. I don't know if I can play this video here, Max, or you have to play it there?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can.
You can play it there, man.
I can play it perfect. You know, like Roger Deakins just explaining this in a most beautiful way possible.
I think photography is not about creating beautiful shots. It's about creating a film that sustains the feel all the way through without losing the audience. Yeah, I mean, that's the trick. You know, if somebody says, oh, well, that was a really great movie, that's what I want to hear, not, oh, wasn't that a brilliant shot, or wasn't that brilliant camera move or brilliant photography? Because then I think really that's taking the audience out of the film. They've not really seen the film as a whole piece, you know?
That's very brilliant. Yeah. Totally agree.
Again.
I think photography is not about creating beautiful shots. It's about creating a film that sustains the feel all the way through without losing the audience. Yeah, I mean, that's the trick. You know, if somebody says, oh, well, that was a really great movie, that's what I want to hear, not, oh, wasn't that a brilliant shot, or wasn't that brilliant camera move or brilliant photography? Because then I think really that's taking the audience out of the film. They've not really seen the film as a whole piece, you know?
So basically, I spent like 20 minutes trying to say this.
Yeah.
What do you think, Diego?
It's right. I mean, it's like, at the end, it's something obvious. and it's like we have to work. We are a group, but it's like in, I don't know, many of our education, of even like the different roles of cinematography are you concentrating all the time in you. But in most of the cases we forgot the most important. Is the whole movie what is important. It doesn't matter if it's the photography or the actors. I mean, it's a group. It's a whole thing that makes the cinema incredible at the end. It doesn't matter if the color is beautiful. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think this is a beautiful concept for me. It's so important, you know. I'm trying to be aware all the time about this, you know. Yeah, I just wanted to share it with you because I think it's a good concept. And I have an experience like 3 or 4 years ago. I went to Thailand to do a Vipassana course. Vipassana meditation is a meditation you have to stay without talk. You cannot see other people on their eyes. You know, you have to be really concentrated, and you have to meditate 10 hours per day. And during this experience, they taught me that, you know, the difference between emotions and feelings, you know, and
What is it?
It was really amazing, you know. I didn't get it, you know. We as a human beings, or people that live in the city, let's say, or I don't know, people that is lost in life, we run behind emotions. We run behind the sugar. We run behind the excitement or the happiness, or, you know, we want to hold this feeling of love for forever. But at the end of the day, these things cannot live longer. You know, they are just emotion. They are just big. You cannot hold this level of happiness all
They come
your
and
life
buy. They
because
come
you're
and
gonna
go.
die.
Yeah, they come and go, right?
Yeah, basically, because if you want to jump in like you want to do skydiving, you know, like a 24/7, you're gonna die because your level of dopamine is gonna kill you, you know. So what we need to find is something more stable, something that, you know, keep you. And for me, it was amazing because we have a teacher, and this teacher was there doing meditation with us, and he never talked. He was there, and I didn't get it, and I was fighting against that, and I didn't get it. Why this guy is here, like a 70 years old, he doesn't talk with us, and blah blah blah. My mind's just killing me. And at the end of the course, I completely understand. He was there to show us that it's possible. That's it. You know, and was beautiful for me. It was amazing because we don't need to use the words. We don't need to communicate in the way that I wanted, you know, because I'm an addict about, you know, tell me. I'm telling you, the problem is that you are not listening.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, looks like, you know, it's something that we need to understand. There is something in cinema that is difficult, and you have to stay there, and you have to wait, and you have to feel. And I think that this is what make like a good cinematographers different and good directors different. They are obsessed with something, and they spend a lot of time trying to work around this to protect this until the end, you know. So yeah, this is a feelings thing. Emotions, you know, we're gonna work as a colorist, cinematographer, artist with emotion. Basically, this is a diagram that I love, and basically it's what the movie is about. You know, Inside Out is the main topic is how you grow as a human being. You know, how you move from the child, be a child, your childhood, to become an adult. And basically, what is happening is that you start to understand that you cannot stay in the same emotion for a long period of time. You know, if you see a kid, or you have some kids in your family, you're gonna see that the kids are happy, and after that, I don't know, they hit. I don't know. They hit their heads with the table, and after that they are crying, and they jump between emotions without any like a fade between them. You know, it's just, okay, I'm really feeling this 100%, and now I'm feeling this, and now I'm hungry, and now I'm really tired, and now I want to sleep. You know, when we start to become adults, we start to mix and blend these emotions in different ways. So, you know, we
start to get complicated.
Things start to get complicated. Yeah. And this is like Inside Out too.
Yeah.
I don't know if they released the movie or not yet, but this chart is beautiful because it looks like for kids. But you can use it to make a movie, because if you mix fear with sadness, you have anxiety. And you have a logic behind, you know, it's okay, for me, blue is gonna be sadness, and violet is gonna be fear. So I'm gonna change. I'm gonna
mix.
Go from I'm gonna mix, but I think let's add some time. You know, I'm gonna move from this feeling to the other feeling. You know, and something that you said, you know, is I can mix them, or I can transit from one to other. You know, if I mix them, I having a complex emotion in a short period of time. I having a complex emotion just in one frame, or one scene, or one shot. What happens if the movie is about how I transit from one emotion to the other? But yeah, I love this chart. I think it's so important, and you have the picture from the movie. You know, when she starts to understand, you know, there is a richness around, you know, combined emotions.
That's actually a very how do you call it, sophisticated chart. Disguised in a very simple interface.
Yeah, and I was actually like reading and say, okay, how I feel it right now. So it's like, so everyone in the chat, how you feel now, looking at this chart.
Yeah, for example, Diego is hungry and sleepy at the same time.
And also Joy.
Yeah,
so
Joy.
I need always, 3 circles always. Now.
Yeah, you need 3 circles. Yeah, what I try to explain here is what Max said. You know, it's just, if you make an emotion at the same time, you're gonna have emotional contrast. You know, what emotional contrast means. You know, someone is dying, but you decide to go with a grade or with a wardrobe or something that is completely opposite. You know, it's just, okay, you know, this guy is dying and is our main protagonist, but we're gonna, I don't know, we're gonna use like it's oversaturated colors, and I don't know, the red is gonna be pumping like crazy, or completely opposite. You have a really happy emotion on screen. You have a beautiful scene, but you choose to go with the bleach bypass. And you are saying something there, you know. What happened? Obviously, the spectator is not going to say, okay, why the colorist choose a bleach bypass for this scene, or really contrast look. But they are going to start to feel that something is wrong. And we can come back to the main diagram. You know, something is wrong, something is false, something is ugly. What is happening, you know? And we are playing this game with them, you know, trying to move them to a different emotion, and try to get contrast, because basically contrast is when you put 2 different things at the same time. You know, in black and white, you know, you have like a chromatic contrast, and you can have also emotional contrast. For example, Diego, if you want to make like a sad look, how it looks for you?
So it will be desaturated and contrast. Yeah. That's the point.
Contrast. Yeah. So you can play with that, and if you have like a happy scene, and she's having a birthday, you know, she's having a birthday, and her boyfriend is there, but you know, the image is telling us something. You know, maybe her boyfriend is cheating her, or something is happening in the story, and we can anticipate this emotion through color. You know, in the way we overlap sound, or in the way we use flashbacks and flash forwards during the editing. We have this power also as a colorist, and obviously we can do it with wardrobe, production design, any other pieces. And also we can mix emotions during a period of time, not in the same shot, in the same scene. We can do it through a movie. And we start to talk about a feeling, what Roger Deakins was talking about, hold the feeling, protect the feeling, make a movie that is sustainable through the whole piece. It's just, okay, how we can work in this like a big scale and also work in the small scale at the same time. So this is, for example, some scenes from Hero, and we can see how they mix different scenes, how they mix different color palettes in a narrative way, how they come back to some colors.
That's a great movie, by the way.
By the way, yeah. And this is an amazing example when you really apply everything together. Imagine that the colorist didn't receive a hard drive. Say, okay, we have this movie. It's about a couple of Asian people just kicking each other. It's just they paint even the leaf from the trees.
Yeah.
Another good concept about this when we work with color, it's just that we have to work with color, but we also have to work with black and white. We have to reset the colors. If you are using the colors for a long period of time, your brain and your eyes are going to get used to this color, and they are going to start to compensate this color. So we need to
everything start to look neutral then, right?
Yeah. Everything is going to be neutral.
I think I told you this one before, Javi. It reminds me of, going to the perfume store. You always find a box of coffee beans to reset your nose, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you put it there. Amazing. That's cool.
What's a beautiful example. I must put it.
Yes.
No, but we think about that the other day. And what's a beautiful example, I think, about perfume. You talk about sushi also.
Exactly. I never realized that the fermented ginger on sushi is actually to reset your palate before you try different type of sushi. I always eat it.
Yeah, I just
now I know.
That with you.
Yes, now I know that it is to reset your palate before changing the type of sushi. Right.
So we can use it properly.
Now, exactly.
And also we have this in music, the silence, the way that we can enjoy, and at the end we can enjoy things when we have this empty space to really think about them. It's just, when I think this, it's just enjoy it. Now you get it. Your brain, your eyes, your soul is so excited, and now you're enjoying. You have it.
Yeah.
You still have the colors in your eyes. You still have the color in your mind, in your soul. So you need reset. You need to use the chromatic reset cleverly in your movies. As a colorist, it's so important. Many times I see people it's like a musician trying to play all the time. I don't get it. If you talk all the time, I don't get it. You have to slow down, you have to stop. We need to think about what you said before, and we can move forward.
Yeah, especially if you play guitar. You cannot just keep shredding. You need to rest.
Yeah.
But at the same with it's the same with the eye. It's like, okay, your eye is working all the time.
Yeah.
And I love the analogy.
Always compensating, right, Diego?
Yes, I love the analogy. It's like, okay, if a guitar player is all day, it will be like at the end I don't know what will he play. It happened the same with us colorists. What happened if we grade 12 hours? It's the same.
Yeah. And this is an example from Matrix. We have this idea that Matrix is like a green movie. All the people think about Matrix and they think about green. but when you check, matrix is not green. At least it's not green all the time. You know, we have two gray, like two big blocks. One is when they are inside the matrix, and when they are outside of the matrix. And if you see, you know, when they are outside of the matrix, even if it's a bit bluish, it's more neutral, you know, and they use this to help you to understand where are you. And we're going to use this a bit in the project I want to show you. But, you know, and it's not a classic reset. It's not just the pure black and the pure white. But we are trying to play this game. And you can play this game also in a more complex way. For example, if you have two grades, like this grade that we have here, for example, you know, in the grade that the green is more obvious, you can keep the blacks pure. And in the other grade that is more bluish, you can keep the white pure. So you are resetting the black and white, but you're not doing both at the same time. You know, you are playing the game. So things are getting more complex, and people, I don't know, the brain likes when things are complex. You know, if you put red, if you put carmine, or you put like indigo or turquoise, you know, I know I love turquoise. You know, it's just when things are complex, you know, your brain enjoy the challenge. I think, you know, it's just chemistry. Okay, this is all the presentation.
Awesome.
All the theory, and we can jump into the project later.
That's nice.
Do we want to recap something? Do you want to answer questions or something, or we just jump?
No, there are just like plenty of a good comment from the audience. I think Wilmer was saying like everybody's agree with you. Like, for example, Wilmer saying in the chat, actually, I think when the audience just talk about specific color or shot or technical aspect and etc., we didn't connect the people with the story, like what the Roger Deakins said previously, right? Right. I think we can move on, Javi. And do you want to talk about the Combatientes?
Combatientes, yeah. Let's use the real name. Yeah, it's a project that I work with another colorist, Remo Albornoz. We work in this project like 10 years ago. It's one of my favorite projects, and we learn a lot with this project. And the magic of this project was that we have the freedom to experiment a lot and try things, you know, without the pressure of, I don't know, the big production companies or producer. We won a grant from the Argentinian Institute of Cinema. So yeah, we have the opportunity to really put all the things that we were talking before in action. You know, we were friends. We all of us we went to the same film school, basically, or almost all of us. We went to the same film school, and the directors are really close friends to me. And yeah, it was a really good project. We created a production company based on this project. We did all the VFX, color grading. We have another company doing the sound. And yeah, I really would like to show you how we work this project, try to bring some of the ideas that we were talking before, and put these ideas in action. You know, is how I did it with Remo, with my partners in Madriguera Post, and let's see if this makes sense for you.
Absolutely, Javi. The floor is yours.
Yeah, and it looks really nice. It looks really nice.
Yeah, the trick about this is that this was made like 10 years ago, so Da Vinci didn't exist at that time.
Or was not really affordable back in the day, right?
Yeah, well, yeah, it's true. It's true. I didn't have the $1 million that was required to buy one of them.
So, how was the film was produced? Was it which camera was used on the shoot, and which a platform did you guys use for editing and grading?
Yeah, we shot with a Sony camera. I think I don't remember.
One of the Sony cameras, yeah.
Yeah, one of the Sony camera at the time. We use Premiere Pro to edit. Yeah, basically because also I was working with Apple Color at that time, but the thing with this project is the ambition of the directors was huge, and we didn't have enough time to do a proper pipeline, to do a proper workflow. So basically we have to grade during the editing. So they were editing and we were doing grading at the same time, from the first cut, So they were editing like episode by episode, and we were behind just grading.
Yeah.
And after that, we have an assistant editor that was copying and pasting all the properties clip by clip. And we do a new pass and new I think we did like two full passes and 2 rounds of corrections. That was it, Well, and it was beautiful and was amazing, and we could do it without all this like power super windows and open effects and crazy things that we have now. And how
did you manage the grade back in the day? Did you use, since I'm seeing Magic Bullet looks here on the screen, did you use Magic Bullet looks or?
Yeah, we use Magic Bullet looks for grading, and we did the base grading on, what is the name of the Lumetri.
Okay.
All right.
So we use basically we just grade inside Premiere because we couldn't afford the idea of moving to a different platform. So basically they edit the episode, they send us the exactly same project with the sequence, and we start to grade. Basically we start doing all the balancing, all the technical grade with Lumetri. And when we have all the matching there, we apply Magic Bullet looks, and we start to do the grading, to doing what people now call like the show lat, But we didn't know that at that time, so we just.
So basically, you're just grading it directly on the editorial timeline back in the day.
Yeah, basically like this, and after that, we didn't have at that time even like adjustment layers. So we were like just grading in the same exactly clip that the editor is gonna grab later, and they're gonna keep editing. Yeah. So basically, they edit. We did the color grading. Let's say the next 2 days after they finish the editing, and we send the project back, and they start to do all the corrections that the director wanted, and it's like a 10 episodes, so we have like a 3 or 4 days of buffer between editorial and grading, and basically the most important part is like one of my mentors, that is Eddie Walker, taught me that this idea of like a technical grade, look, and finishing. Yeah. And this is what I try to replicate in each software that I use. Basically, for example, Apple Color has this from the software. You have primaries, secondaries, so and you cannot do it in a different way. With this workflow that we create for this specific project, we just build it. We say, okay, all the primaries are gonna be on Lumetri. All the grading or like emotional color is going to be on Magic Bullet. And after that, if we have to apply, I don't know, VHS texture or grain or whatever, it's going to be an overlay over the.
There are two questions in the audience. Do you want to answer it, Javier?
Sure.
John is asking if you are still editing in Premiere Pro till today.
Yeah, sometimes in my company, they are still editing in Premiere Pro, basically because we are not using the most powerful computers for editing. Sometimes we edit in DaVinci. We all obviously like DaVinci, but sometimes what happened to me is when we are doing like a big project and we need to outsource part of the editorial work, it's more difficult to find companies. Normally I work with Argentina or India, and they already know how to use Premiere, and also the young people that work with us, they already know how to use Premiere. I don't know, people learn how to use Premiere at school, or I don't know where they learn, because they already know how to use Adobe from scratch. So it's a process for us to move them from the Premiere to DaVinci. Cool. We don't use obviously Final Cut or something like that. Yeah. Basically Premiere.
And Derek is asking, since you were grading this project in Premiere Pro back in the day, how's your feeling about the scopes that you're using inside Premiere? That's Lumitre scope, I believe.
Yeah. I think we didn't have scope at that time.
Okay. But Magic Bullet Looks has scopes inside it, right?
Yeah. We use the Magic Bullets.
Okay.
Yeah, it was true.
Cool.
Yeah, we have scopes there. Yeah, it was a really beautiful project. It's just
awesome.
We learn a lot, and when we experiment a lot, and obviously it's something that it's just. It's what I want to share with you about this project. It's something that we have. I think Magic Bullet Looks was an amazing tool. Was beautiful. Was enjoyable for us because we now these things happen. What happened with the vector scope, and what happened with the instruments, and what happened with this, and what happened with that? At that time, we were more like, what is this? I don't know, tool is doing, because it's not like the kind of tool that you can find in Baseline or DaVinci that is clear, is so technical. This is more about to create a look. It's more about to get fun. It's more about to make mistakes. The interface allow you to make mistakes. I remember that we start to create looks and we like it, and after that we move things from camera to lens or camera to filter, and we start to play like a game, and we discovered a lot of things that we love it, and also because we were like two colorists working at the same time. It was crazy because sometimes when the directors give some feedback and we have to make changes, I have to open my friend's project, and I don't get it. It's just what he did here. It's a different structure, it's a different mindset, it's a different. What Diego said. At the end of the day, we are using the same program. We are grading the same show. We know each other. We are like a meter distance, desk to desk, and at the end of the day, we open the project. It's a different thing. A different person, different emotion. And I think this was amazing for me because I'm more mental. You will see how I approach this project. For example, Remo is more 100% experimental. Is the kind of guy that he goes on the field and he just take out the lens and he put the leaf in front and he just grab a paper and put it in front of the lens and use the cell phone just doing flares. It's just okay. Let's try it. Let's do what we want to do, and after that, let's check the instruments and if we are legal or not. But if we grade with the instruments, it's so difficult to find something new. I'm gonna show you some things that are technically wrong. But I don't care. I love the grade, and I think it's amazing, and I don't want the detail that I don't need. So why are you gonna keep it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So well, basically, the long story short is that we use Magic Bullet. I love it. Now that I remember that, I'm gonna use it on DaVinci Resolve because it's so fun. It's so fun. It's so fun, and I think it's a great tool for grading. Obviously, I don't know, maybe you improve this now, but was a bit complicated to do the matching. That's why we just use Lumetri for matching.
Since you're using like a Magic Bullet 2.0, since now Magic Bullet, I think it's like the available versions is Magic Bullet 16, there are plenty more tools available. Javier.
Sorry. You can send me a link.
Yeah, okay. Absolutely, man.
Okay, let's just. I know I have two screens and I get confused. Let's say what Roger Deakins have to say about it.
It gives me more than I can get with film, not with a palette. Fast, very small, very quick. I can see the image that I'm photographing, I can play it back, I can see the shot we've got in full resolution. I mean, and I can sleep at night not worrying about what the lab report is the next day. I mean, which is quite a big thing. On film, I'm just playing a little.
So he's comparing film and digital acquisitions, right?
Whatever. But here I can do it and go further, you know. Great. So it's a way of counting yourself, in a way.
Yeah, man.
Okay, but it's difficult to understand at the beginning because he's comparing digital against film.
Yeah. Film, yeah.
Yeah, but basically, I think it's so important, you know, the people like Roger Deakins go out and say these kind of things, you know. It's just, I mean, one of the best cinematographers in the history of cinema, you know, and he's saying like he prefer like a digital, and I felt for a long period of time in my career I couldn't say that. I couldn't say that because, you know, I was not allowed to say that, you know, no, because film is cinema, film is this, and film is that. They say, I don't know, film for me is just be in a bathroom trying to load the camera, I know, and people are screaming outside, and I cannot sleep because I don't remember it, you know, if I did the things right or wrong, or if the laboratory is gonna call me next day saying that there was a problem, or dust, or something like that. You know, it's just I really enjoy digital. Also, I love I should with film also a lot, and I love it, but it has to be a decision. It doesn't have to be, you know, something that people impose as a, you know, film is. Film is about to make amazing story. Film is about to convey emotions and share your values with the people that is the other side of the screen. This is what film is about, you know, and the support that you use cannot change that in any way, you know. It shows basically this is the example because we use Magic Bullet, you know, and I use Magic Bullet, and I use Apple Color, and I use C.Grade, and I used blah 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 blah. At the end of the day, I'm 100% sure that I am the limitation. I am the limitation.
The tool can just get good as can just, how do you call it? Ah, man, my English is going out the windows today, man.
So, you know, it happened for me. I was in school, and it was like a film convention, a film festival, and I really like cameras and so on. So I asked a cinematographer, hey, what do you prefer, Sony or Arri? At the end, he said something similar. Is, hey, we have pencils. How many people can write a good story? And it does. It don't matter the pencil he has.
Yeah,
so it's the same. It's the same. It's like choose a tool. The feature, the limitation is you are the limitation. Myself is a limitation for what I wanted.
Yeah.
It's just like the saying, you know, your camera take a nice picture, or your color panel did a nice grade.
Okay, but actually the iPhone 13 took some pictures like what?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty, so pretty.
Pretty, yeah.
So pretty pictures. Yeah, yeah. This is important, you know. It's just this is, I don't know. The most important thing is, I don't know. Things are more accessible right now when people can get the computer that they can run this software or the other software. The most important thing is don't really make the technology an excuse.
Yes.
Right? You know,
Yeah.
don't make the technology an excuse, and basically, you know, and that happened all my career. You know, people say, "Oh, you cannot grade when people said it," and you know, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is not the way to do it, and we did it. And people say you cannot grade, do color grading online because this or that. Oh, I'm grading online. I know, like for the last 6 years.
Yeah.
You know, because 4K and whatever, why you need 4K? You know, you need to export in 4K. You don't need 4K. You know, it's just, that doesn't have any sense. You know, it's just, okay, you know, and I think I'm a better colorist if I am in a place that I feel comfortable and
Yes.
I feel creative and I can enjoy the other, you know, I don't know, like 16 hours of my life also. Not it's just what I can do in the 8 hours that I am in the room. It's what I'm gonna do with the other 16 hours that are also my life. You know,
Nice way of putting it.
yeah, obviously the kind of experience that you're gonna have, because the in a dark room you don't have nothing. You need to bring it from outside. You know, you don't have inspiration in a dark room. You need to go out. You need to
Go
bring
out and get
this every
inspired.
day. Yeah, you
Yeah.
have to get inspired, you know, and people don't, at the beginning, people don't understand that. They think, okay, I'm gonna take this course, I'm gonna learn this, I'm gonna buy that, you know, and at the end of the day, you need to talk with the director, and you are
Yeah.
not gonna talk about the new panel or the new GPU or the new thing or the new. You're going to talk about your family. You're going to talk about when you travel abroad. You're going to talk about the experience you have when you went to meditate in Thailand. You're going to talk about your friends and the food and or this ceremony that you went, and all the people was wearing white and they were happy and you were stuck. So this is what you need to bring
Yeah.
to the grading room. So yeah, basically, you know, just demystify this idea of technology, demystify, you know, that you need the things. Obviously, the color science that Ari has is basically the best. You know, Sony cameras has a sensibility that's amazing, but what do you need to tell your story? You know,
And
because
you
you
say
don't.
something funny. It's like the color grading room is the less inspiring room.
Yeah, I'm against, but this was one of the things I could never said before. You know, it's just it's like why we have to be in a dark room. I don't get it. I'm architect. I don't get it. We cannot. Why we cannot have like a windows, or we can. Obviously we are not going to be grading with an open window. You know, but we're going to be there like 8 hours. You know, it's just I don't want to smoke to go out. You know, it's just I want to have a pleasant place to do my job.
On that topic, John is asking, how do you work day to day to balance being in front of the computer and being active physically?
No,
Surfing?
I think surfing, I guess. I think yeah, just to give you a quick answer about that, if you go to ICA, iColorist Academy YouTube podcast, so to say, I think they have a topic just on that. It's called the Color Space Cadet, and they were talking about the mental health. I think that's also something that you want to check out, John. And what about you, Javi? How do you balance those things apart from surfing?
Yeah, basically, I'm not grading every day.
Yeah.
It's something that I try to keep for the kind of the project that I really love. You know, I'm working with color all the time. As I told you, you know, we have this company that we develop IP. So basically, we create decks and mood boards and video mood, and we are working all the time with color, and we are using mostly now we use a lot like a grading tool to match images that we collect from different sources and put them on the decks and make them look amazing and convey the emotion that we want to convey. And yeah, maybe I'm doing like 4 or 5 features per year, not more than that. And basically, I'm not working as a colorist as people normally do, you know, like 5 days a week. I try to don't do that. I try to enjoy. It's something that I really enjoy, so I want to keep it for myself and for the projects that I want. And it's something that we need to do, but doesn't require all this. It just have to be pretty. One of the guys just do it, and yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Javi.
Okay. Okay. The quick story short, the long story short. These are my partners at that time. The guy at the bottom of the screen is the other colorist, which is Remo Albornoz. Yeah, he's so trendy, so I couldn't find a proper picture of him on Instagram, so I put this. And I think this project, the context is so important. You know, it's a war movie. It's about the war that we have between Argentina and England for Las Islas Malvinas, or Falkland Islands. And this project was framed into the 30th anniversary of this war. The war was in like 1982, you know. And for us, it was a responsibility. We didn't really understood that at that time, but you know, it's just we were working on a really sensitive topic. You know, we are talking about all the people or the majority of the people that came back from this war at that time that we created this project was still alive. And the way that maybe the government in Argentina behaved with these people was not the best. You know, these people was just asking money on trains sometimes, or doesn't they didn't have the recognition that we as a republic we consider that they should. And also what's important because we lost the war. So basically. During the period that we were fighting the war, the government, who was a dictatorship, was saying that we were winning the war, and all the people were celebrating, and all the people were supporting the dictatorship. And from one day to the other, they just recognized that we lost, and it's a really. Until today, it's a really sensitive topic. I just put the goal that Maradona scored against England with the hand, you know, the hand of God.
The hand of God.
Yeah, you know, it's just we are trying to get revenge for these situations. You know, every time we can. You know, it's just it's something that's still there and it's still alive. So yeah, just to give you an idea, it's not just a series. It's not just about something that is fictional. It's something that happened, and it's something that we need to be really accurate. And so yeah, basically what we create at the beginning with Remo, we try to understand the story in a linear way. You know, the editing is not linear, so they are jumping flash forward and flashback and flash forward all the time, but to make the story really complex to be understood. So what we did is we regroup all the frames and we rewrite the story in a linear way so we can understand this. And the story, basically what I do, even when we write script from scratch, for me is so important, even if you are a production designer, I don't know, cinematographer, obviously, colorist, obviously editor, they know that. But we need to learn about script writing. We need to learn about storytelling. You really need to understand what is in the script, what is in the screen right now. You know, it's just, you need to understand that we normally work in a 3-act structure. The first act is the setup, where you present your main conflict and your main characters. You have a second act where you develop the confrontation, the main problem and the obstacles that the hero is gonna have to cross. You have the second plot point and the third act, which is the resolution of your story. I don't know if you work with this, Diego, or not.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and you say something really important. It's like we cannot forget the story, and we cannot forget that the person that wrote the story was thinking on this. So at some point, it's like, okay, we always think about matching, but sometimes matching, I mean, sometimes a clip in a scenario that was at the beginning, it doesn't needs to be the same in the middle. Also, it doesn't need to be at the end, because the story changed. So this is something really important, because sometimes you say, okay, if I put this shot of this scenario at the beginning or at the end, they need to be the same? No. Let's think in the story. Let's think in the. Sometimes I'm thinking that a graphic, like at some point, like a graphic thing that let's go with emotions. It goes with emotions. So matching is technical, it's awesome, but think in the different like acts of the story, and that way we will create with emotions.
Yeah. So it's important that we really understand this, also because we have to talk with directors, you know, and basically these are the points where we have to change the grade or to make a transitions and start to work in blocks. Yeah. In this case, in the movie in the series that we were talking about, we have a setup which is previous to the war. We have the characters' presentations and the different personal life that they have. This is the most important thing that we have to communicate. After that, we have the war, that in war we are all equals. You know, this idea of I don't care where are you from or social status. Yeah. When you are on the field, we are all soldiers. After the war, that this idea, you know, we talk with the directors, and it's the main motivation of the story is that your body can come back from the war, but your mind will never. You know, it's something that is gonna be there forever, and if you try to block it, it's gonna be really difficult to move forward in life. And basically, this is the main conflict of our hero here. You know, he tried to change the path. He tried to save his friends that they already died on the field. He's the only one that came back from the war. And basically, Act 3, sorry to say Act 2, but Act 3, the resolution is find peace, accepting the truth. You know, so find the peace, accepting that, you know, you are the only one that came back, and your friends are still there. They died on Malvinas. So basically, try to summarize the concept, try to get a clear idea so we can work, because I get really confused. I normally read the script, and after that I start to make a summary, and after that I have my personal script with bunch of images and some words and some emotions, because I think, you know, what we have to do is to take care of this soul, to take care of this emotion, and other people is going to take care of the dialogue or the other part of the narrative. So the first act for me is previous to the word is to enhance or highlight the difference between them. One of them is gay, one of them is like a high class, high, it's a rich guy. The other one is a poor guy. The other one has problems at home because the violence between his parents. So try to really show that they are different. Mm-hmm. Because when we move into the second act and during the war, they're going to be all equals. They are going to become all soldiers, better or worse soldiers, but they are going to be all the same. And after that, when they come back from the war, we have this idea of the mind will never come back. The mind is going to be there forever. And the resolution is going to be more about accepting the truth. Yeah, we have these 4 things. So for the first part, when we describe the character, we have 6 different stories. We went to a more like a vintage look. We try to represent the 80s in a way. We were not just playing the true all the time. We were a bit false. We moved sometimes a bit to the 70s or even 60s. We try to bring this emotion, this feeling of, okay, this is something old, even that was it's only 30 years old at the time we created the series. We wanted to bring this color, this palette, this pastel colors and palette that you used to have in the wardrobe. So basically, these are frames from the different stories. We have the first 6 episodes that introduce one of each episode introduce one character. So, and you can feel, maybe if you put all together, you get this feeling, you get this idea of this is period. They have a gamma, they have a palette, they share a common space and a time. But if we start to look closer, each character is holding one color for them. They have basically, if you check it, it's mostly wardrobe and production design, but they have a color that is specific and is linked with this character. And if we play the game again, we can see that what we were trying not in an obvious way, as they did with Inside Out. They use the primary colors, and the complementary colors. But we try to shift the hue a bit. We try to play this game, but also we try to cover the hue, the whole palette. We try to have one character holding one of the colors that in this case is not really linked with an emotion. It's just representing this character. When you see this color, you know that we are talking about this character, and we are talking about basically the main emotion that this character has. The red one is the rich guy, it's the more aggressive guy. He played rugby, and the brown one is the sergeant. So it's more like a pale and more neutral. But what happened? All these characters, each episode finished in the same shot. It's these guys or the same sequence with this shot of the truck that is going to move them from Argentina to Falkland or Malvinas. So every
single episode will close with this shot. The truck.
Yeah. Even that the episode has a different color dominance, all of them are gonna finish in the same scene, exactly the same scene, and exactly the same shot. Obviously, you're gonna have a different close-up depending on the character that is just moving the narrative forward. So we start to have this idea of, okay, we came from different backgrounds, but we are all the same, and from now we are going to be all the same, you know?
Yes.
So for the second move or the second act, we are already in Falkland, we are already in Malvinas, and we are in, it's wartime, you know, and we decide to go for a most classic war look that we can imagine, which is the bleach bypass. It's basically a bleach bypass, and we add it's tinted. It's just a green bleach bypass.
Yes.
No, it's something that we know and we have in our mind from, like, you know, Saving Private Ryan or all the like war movies that we watch since we are kids. So we decide to go with this look.
If I may comment, did you, since you said that you're using Magic Bullet looks, and said, is Mojo is in the play there as well?
Yeah,
awesome.
Mojo, so aggressive. We just discovered that at that time. So cool. I didn't know how to make a beach bypass. So basically, we discovered Mojo, and we said, "Wow, I love this look." And after that, we understand that, okay, this is a bleach bypass. I knew that because I went to the film school, and they explained me this, but I never made a bleach bypass in real life, on film, because it was so expensive at that time. So when I discovered Mojo, was like, oh, I really like this. It's the emotion that I want to transmit. This is what I have in my mind. This is what I watch all my life. When I don't know, there is a link between this image and the word that is really deep in my mind. So I really wanted to represent it in the most classical way. So we use Mojo, and this gray has something that is quite particular, that has an evolution. Even as a bleach bypass, it's changing from because it's tinted, it's changing from a sepia tone to a really, really aggressive, like a bleach bypass. And maybe we can show the video number 1, that is one of the first transition. It's the first transition. They are this one.
So you went from sepia tone right here.
Yeah. Can we put the sound? Not possible.
Oh, okay. There you go. Yeah, the sound is in the playback.
I cannot hear it.
Yeah, the audience will hear it, Javi.
Okay, great. I don't know if you get it, but during the transition, when they open the door, we are blending 2 different grades. You know, this is the important part. Let's see how we blend the grades. We are always using the Mojo, but we are changing the tint.
Okay.
So we try to cover that when they open the door. Right now, we are from orange, and we are starting to go into green now.
That's
and
so
from
cool.
now.
So you just animate the slider, the tint slider in Mojo.
Yeah, we
nice.
did it.
And it looks so natural. That's the best thing.
Yeah, because we try to use something that's already inside the narrative. You know, imagine, I don't know, put yourself in the position of one of these, like an 18 years old guy that you are sent from your house in Argentina, I don't know, Buenos Aires, you have your family, whatever. They just put you in a plane, in a neutral environment. You don't know anyone there. Everything is just one tone, like a duotone max.
Yes.
And after that, they open the door, and you are in a completely no man's land. You know, in the middle of one of the southest points in the world. You know. So this was important for us. We need to do a kind of extraction for them. You know, they were this transition from home to the world. I think is one of the most important things that we really wanted to communicate. You know, it shows how abrupt was, how violent was this transition for them. You know, it's just put you in a tube and I just drop you there, and I don't really care about you. So yeah, this is one of the clips that I wanted to show you.
Yeah.
And the other clip, let's just jump into the clip number 3, because it's going to be
Clip number 3.
Yeah. So I really hope that you were able to listen the sound, because the sound is so extreme and is basically what justify the army, and they are in a concentration camp. So, you know, you can see, you know, the grading is so extreme. We are losing detail in the highlights. It's a really aggressive bleach bypass, because it's the most like extreme situation you can be. You are in a really dangerous place in a way, you know. And I think what is so important, they were kids, you know. Basically, they have 18 years old until like 20, 21 years old. All the soldiers, obviously the high hierarchy sergeant or captains were like people that have a career in the army. But I don't know. For us, is the feeling that we want to transmit. You know, I don't care what the waveform is saying. You know, I know that it's the emotion that I want. And we push it, and we are really proud about it.
Yeah.
And yeah, sometimes it's this, you know, it's just, you know, have to be ugly, have to be extreme, have to be, because, you know,
need to be bold. Yes.
Yeah, need to be bold. Yeah, have to be like this. So yeah, if they were able to listen the sound, you know, it's just so extreme. Like people screaming, you know, they are just desperate. They don't know if they're gonna live or they're gonna die. You know, it's the most extreme situation you can have, and they are just waiting there, like in a refugee camp. So yeah, these are the two transitions that I really wanted to show. You know, it's just, you can see, even we did it like carefully. You know, if you see the image, you know, we are losing some detail here, but we try to keep the detail. We wanted to make it sharp. We were using a tool that between Moho, but we discovered the other tool called Pop, that we just fall in love and say,
pop. Yes.
We start to play with the pop until, you know, it's like it's too much. So we just blended and came back, and always I have this idea. Normally when I grade really aggressively, and after that I start to fade the grade with the original image, or try to mix it or blend it. And I remember this was one of the times that I said, yeah, it's too much, and I'm gonna keep it like this. Normally, obviously, you make a deal with yourself or with the director, and always it's 80%, normally 50%, sometimes like a 25%. This was 100%. What we grade is what we print. We printed. So yeah. It's something that I also wanted to show you, because sometimes, you know, all the people is just showing like a beautiful things, and I think the ugly shots have to have their space also.
Exactly.
But looks, I mean, it looks really nice.
Yeah. The last move is he came back from the war, and he has two different like. We cannot really define what is imagination and what is reality. So we are playing all the time with this idea of some gradings are a bit vintage and some gradings are a bit like leading to the bleach bypass. you know, so the spectator can have a clue, but it's not obvious, you know. It's not that, okay, now it's bleach by pass, so it's an imagination or it's an hallucination. You know, we try to play the game, and we try to involve the spectator also with the feeling that our main protagonist has, our hero. And at the end, we went to a really natural look, more like a French, like a clean Italian, you know, look from that time, you know, this like a realistic thing that we wanted to transmit, because it's when he completely, you know, he has his crisis, he almost died, like the hero journey. And after that, he came back like a phoenix, and he admit that, you know, he have to move forward. You know, it's really sad. You know, all of his friends died on the field, but he still have a woman that love him. He still have a family, and he have to fight for the things that are important for him. So basically, we use this like a natural look, to close the movie. And the series, obviously, the narrative. So it's the first time in the whole series, we are talking about 13 episodes. The only time that we just use mostly a technical grade was here. You know, obviously we just keep that a bit of this vintage look, because we didn't want to put just a video looks. At that time, obviously the video cameras still have like a digital feeling. Yes. And we were trying to represent a period, but yeah, we try to be clean. We try to, the blacks are blacks, the white are white. We are not, we didn't add any color. And yeah, basically to close the presentation is something that is what I wanted to say here. You know, this idea of like we need to do the things like that, and we need to use these tools, and we need to do it like this. You know, this idea of the Jim Jarmusch says that, you know, nothing is original, authenticity is unviable. So basically, my friend Max can say it in a better way, which is still like an artist. You know,
yeah, I really could recommend that book. You know, it's a really nice book by Austin Kleon.
Yeah,
I think, you know, if you copy from one other artist, that would be, how do you call it? That would be stealing. But then if you copy from a lot more people, that would be researching.
Yeah. Yeah, research, inspiration.
Yeah.
Also.
Well,
So,
wow. Thank you so
sorry.
much, Javier.
Amazing
Thank you
presentation.
so much. This is
That's-
so amazing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Awesome
hope-
class. Thank you.
I hope you enjoy it. And yeah, basically, the soul of the concept of this presentation was try to make you free in many different ways. You know, it's just not, it's not
This is
just
very
about, you
inspiring.
know, yeah, it's just discover your own way, discovering your own truth. Remember all the time that you are an artist, and as an artist, you need to move ideas through a pipeline, and you have to take care of the soul. You have to take care of the meaningful part of the movie. You know, it's something that sometimes is really difficult because there are many steps and many technical things you have to do, and it's a business around, you know, but it's a movie without the soul. It's just nothing, you know. It's
Very
just
nice.
Yeah. So
Very nice to put it, Javier. Thank you very much for. It's like a knowledge shower from you. Thank you so much, man. And for you guys who want to get in touch with Javier, you can follow him in Guevara.Cinema in Instagram. Javier is available in Instagram. And I think, let me grab your screen, Javier.
Sure.
Let me share my screen. So on the closing note, I just want to give you a small housekeeping here. So if you want to find more about the webinar that training team at Maxon is hosting, you can go to maxon.net/events, and there you'll see that today we have a webinar with a Javier Guevara, and tomorrow we also have another webinar with Seth and Hasi, VFX and Chill, and next Monday there will be a new series on demystifying post-productions, talking about MoGraph. So we dedicate this month for MoGraph. So if you're really into motion graphic, just please visit maxon.net/events and register to one of the webinars that you enjoy. And if you're just joining late in today's show and you want to watch the recording, it will be available in our YouTube channel. It's called Maxon Training Team. This is recorded and you can re-watch it if you want to, and you can also share it. So that's it for today. Let me go back to Javier. So, Javier, thank you so much once again. Clapping. Thank you so much once again for your time and for the knowledge that you share, and especially that you're doing it in the middle of the night. Now I think it's like 2 a.m. in the morning. I hope you can catch up some sleep, rest well, my friend, and we'll see you again in another episode of Max on Color, hopefully in the future.
I don't really care. I think it's so important, that I don't care if I have to stay until late, because I think it's so important that we can find these spaces. I think I don't normally talk about technical things. This is what I love. This is what it's my passion about.
This is amazing.
So
this is really inspiring.
And for me, it's important also to have your feedback. Because sometimes it's something that we don't know if people like it or not, or they are interested or not. Thank you.
This is so interesting,
Yes.
Well,
awesome class, Javi. Awesome.
Muchas gracias, Javier.
Gracias, Javi.
Yeah, and thank you so much, guys, for joining. Thank you so much for joining, guys, and we'll see you in next 2 weeks' time at another episode of Max on Color. Thank you very much. Take care and goodbye.
Ciao.